Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Just came last week from Davos, the World Economic Forum. People there are discussing really interesting matters that everybody repeating everywhere in the world. Everywhere we go, at the Web Summit, in the events, in the roundtable discussions, in the think tanks, everybody is talking about this agenda for 2026. I will tell you something. They are discussing matters related to agentic AI, tokenization. Let's tokenize everything. Let's digitize everything. We live in the digital era, so let's make everything digital. It's much better for us. That is the second point on the agenda. The third one is the digital identity. Let's have a digital identity for each one of us. So technically, you are represented in a digital identity. Maybe we will not be, maybe it's really beautiful. We don't need any passports, any documents anymore. Your face is your ID when you're leaving the country or entering another country. Even the payments, very soon, when we go to the shop, you don't have to show any card or NFC or anything. Your face will detect the amount from your account. I don't want to go through this. I prepared something completely different than all this. That there is another terminology people are discussing at Davos I really would like to mention here. It's called transhuman. Google it, read about it, or ask ChatGPT, whatever tool you use. But today, we just watched a story about a choice. A choice many people make believing it will bring stability and safety and a better life. It did not begin with bad intentions. It was really good intentions in the beginning. It began with trust. And over time, that trust slowly turned into pressure, as we all see. Decisions were no longer made freely. I think whoever in the investment and in the technology and in the digital transformation business knows the terminology of FOMO, fear of missing out. Somehow, we all have that. We are afraid that something going on the planet we miss, although we know that we cannot catch everything. Decisions were not made to survive. Now, if we want to make a decision, we have to think that I want to make this decision so I do not lose everything. Because now we are talking about the speed where everybody, whether it's a government or an organization or an individual who really is feeling in a speed race, transforming because we want to reserve our position in the future that we own. This story is not really about a loan. That's not what I meant at all. It's about what happens when systems grow more powerful than the people inside them. Systems represented in a bank or an AI tool, it is whatever we built as human to serve us. The most dangerous moment in any system is not when it fails, but when people stop feeling they still have a choice. I work at intersection of technology, finance, and change management. I deal with decision makers. And across very different systems, I kept noticing the same pattern over and over and over. No matter where is the region, no matter what is the project or system we are working on, the biggest risks were never technical at all. They were always human. Let me be very clear from the beginning. I am optimistic about AI. I believe AI will help us solve many problems in health, in education, in accessibility, in many opportunities that we will see in the future, and we are seeing every day. This is not a question of whether powerful systems should exist or not. It's a question of how we choose to lead them. It is our choice. And how we protect human agency within them. Technology is neutral. This is how I see it. It depends who is designing this technology. AI does not remove responsibility, and tokenization does not remove ethics. Automation does not remove choice. So on, every day we will see new technologies, and these emerging technologies will keep evolving. But these systems do not decide who we are. In fact, they amplify who we already are. The more powerful our tools become, the higher the standard of ethical leadership we need. That is what we need. Every system runs on values, whether it's written or most of the time not written. When values are unclear, systems default speed, scale, convenience. That's how systems think. They decide what we build. The values, I mean. When values guide us, the spreadsheets stops helping. They decide what we build and what we are disciplined enough not to build. It's our choice. Systems do not collapse overnight. They drift. One tiny shortcut, one exception, one habit repeated over and over until it becomes a culture. Before technology shapes society, habits shape technology. Culture is what happens when habits go unquestioned. Before we talk about leading organizations or guiding intelligent machines, there is a harder question we often avoid, to be very honest and frank with you. Can we lead ourselves? That is the magic questions. That is the question I believe we should ask. We should ask as builders, as designers, as users, as humans at the end of the day, designing systems that are there to help us and make our life more easy, more beautiful. Because if we struggle to lead our attention, our impulses, or our reactions under pressure, then we shouldn't be surprised when the systems we build reflect that struggle. AI does not fail us. That is the result I reached to personally. It reflects us. I once worked on a system. That could scale very fast. In a blockchain, Web3, crypto, you know how fast it is. You know how fast people get rich and get poor. You know how this cycle goes. It's very quick, very fast as the AI evolving. Technically, everything was perfect, but something felt off in the bottom of our hearts. The team who was working there, not because of the technology, but because of how quickly we were moving, without fully understanding the human consequences. Everybody in the industry was like, why don't you launch your token? Why don't you do this? People are getting rich overnight. But there was something off about that. So we paused. This pause cost time and cost momentum. But it taught us something simple and powerful. The hardest system to lead is yourself. That was the message I wanted to deliver. Discipline is not about slowing innovation, specifically talking to the entrepreneurs and to the regulators, our friends from those areas. It's about earning the right to scale it. Earning the right to scale it. You have to earn the right to scale if you want people to trust your idea or your product or your project or whatever solution you are providing. The ability to pause before accelerating is magic. Responsible innovation is not about stopping progress. It's about scaling trust at the same pace as technology. That's the hard part. Tomorrow morning, many of us will wake up and reach for our phones before we reach to ourselves, because we want to catch up what's going on in the world. Leadership begins in that moment, in the smallest, quietest decision that you have to make. That is the choices we have to focus on, that protect our attention, protect our judgment, protect our sense of agency. That is the real value that we are producing. The story we watched at the beginning did not end in loss because technology existed. It ended in loss when human agency slowly disappeared. The future will absolutely be built with AI. We have to agree on that. The real question is whether we will meet that future with clarity, self-leadership, and values strong enough to keep people in control of their lives. The future is not built by technology alone. The future is built by the quality of choices we are disciplined enough to repeat over and over again. And in a world of increasingly intelligent system, leadership exists to protect human agency. Thank you.